True Detective, The West Wing, The Mindy Project, The Wire, Big Bang Theory, Grey's Anatomy, Ray Donovan, and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, just to name a few. This actress can talk about all those things, and she will, and more. Actress Michael Hyatt here next.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Lives, breaking into.
That's right, kids. We are here for another edition of Breaking Into here on Black Hollywood Live. I am your host, James Lott Jr. You can follow me everywhere in the universe at James Lott Jr. Just that simple. And my guest today, I just named like all these TV shows. She's also done movies, and I mean, she's done a bunch of things. See what I did there? It's a little inside joke before the show. And she's just so talented. She's so good. And I'm so glad to have her on my show today, Ms. Michael Hyatt.
Thank you so much.
The live studio audience. The live studio audience agrees. How are you?
I am so well.
Yes,
really,
we're having a good time.
Yeah.
I think we are cousins. I'm just going to say we are.
We are.
We are.
It's done.
Cousin of the word.
There you go.
Now, you are on a show that we're going to talk about what this show's about. It's just so good, first of all, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Before we talk about it, we're going to cut to a clip of you in a moment. Go right there. Go right there.
Listen up, honey. You obviously don't understand why I'm here. So I'm going to break it down for you.
You know the trouble
I love it.
in storytelling, it's a norm. When a person's in trouble, a manifestation of their subconscious appears in the form of a dream ghost.
Oh my goodness.
I know that. I mean, okay, between that and I've been watching Heavy Boobs to death. I love that song.
Yeah, I
Rachel
haven't
Bloom,
seen
it's
it.
so good. I mean, you must have the time of your life on that show when you were on there.
I absolutely did. For real, for real. I mean, Rachel is an incredible writer, an incredible person.
Okay.
Aline Brosh McKenna is so immensely supportive.
Yeah.
And working with Rachel was really just a dream. I mean, first of all, I have not sung on stage in, I don't know, I mean, since I graduated grad school, you know?
Yeah.
So to be able to do that, you
Yeah.
know, when I got this gig, there was no singing involved.
Okay.
And then Aline came to me in the hair and makeup and said, you know, we're trying to find a song for you. Really?
Wow.
Really? And then she came with this thing. It wasn't just a song. It was a whole episode.
Oh, you guys go ahead and go to YouTube. You can see that whole sequence. I mean, you're wearing like Supreme's wig.
Honey,
I mean, it's like,
it was just done. I remember I went to Howard in undergrad, and I remember they did Dreamgirls, and I wasn't in it, and I remember watching those ladies and gentlemen do that show, and I didn't know much about musical theater then.
Oh, okay.
And I was just in awe of all of it.
Yeah.
You know, so however many years later to pretend for just a moment to be a Dreamgirls ghost.
And you were with
awesome.
Amber Riley and Ricky Lake.
Yeah, Divas.
Ricky
man,
Lake.
Divas. Yeah,
Come on.
Ricky was awesome.
Oh my God,
man.
I'm sure.
She is so, again, she's another woman who is just really generous. You know, she's been in the business for a long time, and she started in musical in musicals, and she was just really just very present, which helps because I haven't sung in a long time, and we're learning all this choreography, and she and I were like, what? Okay. How do you know? But, you know, we did it together and we pulled it off. Man.
That's the thing about this show is that when they have the sequences, I mean, they really are choreographed and well sung, and the lyrics also mean something in the story. So we're talking about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, of course, on CW, starring Rachel Bloom, who's Golden Globe winner. Rachel Bloom, of course, and deserves. I think she's fearless, actually.
She is 27 years old. I think she just turned 28.
Wow.
And she is a dynamo. I wish I had half the chutzpah
yes.
that diva has at 27 years old.
Yeah. She
just said, I'm going to do this, and she did it. You know, Aline and she found each other, and they are just no holds barred.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of her. And I'm inspired by her.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that at my age I would be inspired by somebody so young? But, darling, I mean, the fearlessness. Do you know, you get older and you start, you allow yourself to believe the lies that society tells you can and cannot do. And then here comes this diva who is just like, I just arrived, rule what? I don't know. And I'm like, exactly.
Right.
What rule what?
Right. I'm gonna do singing, dancing, black and white sequences, color.
Okay.
I mean, like.
Okay. And I'm like,
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Because you're right, because as we get a little older, you start getting kind of a little jaded sometimes, or you revert back to being a little scared. You forget what it's like to be like a kid.
Absolutely.
You know.
I remember coming out of Howard, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I lived in Washington D.C. and you know, I was trying to find work, and I was working at Arena Stage, which is one of the major regional theaters in the country, and you know, I was trying to get, and they said, well, you know, I appreciate your but we hire from New York. And I was like, oh, then I need to get up out of here, you know. And I moved to New York with $30 in my pocket.
Wow.
$30.
You only do it when you're young.
You only do that when you're young.
Because
you're like, this is what I want. This is my calling. I'm going.
Right.
Do you know? And there was nothing that stopped me then. But over the years, you start learning the rules.
Yeah, you do.
And you start believing that you have to follow the rules.
Yes. I know.
and then you hit your 40s and you're like, wait a second, I've been following the rules for the last, and am I closer to my, you know what, maybe, and you start shifting. You start shifting back to the truth that you knew.
We talked about that.
What you knew organically, you come back to who you are organically, I feel.
I agree with that.
That's the 40s.
So you and I both were saying before we came on that 39 was the catalyst.
Yes.
It was for me. It's just 39. It just literally was like, I'm doing not what I should be doing. And it's actually hurting me.
Yes.
It's hurting me.
In my 30s was about, wait a second, I thought I knew who I was, but then I just became this person that I was told I was, and I can't find myself anymore. And by the time I was 39, I went through this whole spiritual journey. And at 39, I remember saying, something's got to change. I am ready for a change. And the moment I made that conscious decision, I didn't know the what, the when, the how, the why.
I understand that.
But you just say, I'm done with that. I need a change. And it happened. And it is a completely different consciousness now. And I'm so grateful.
It's you're hitting the head on a nail. It completely was like I didn't know what was about to come forward.
No,
to me.
you don't know.
And I took a leap of faith and just said, okay, I'm just going to do this. But I knew I was done with that.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't know what this was, but I knew that was not good anymore.
I knew, like, I had worn that shoe and it didn't fit, and I kept trying to put my foot in that shoe, and my toes hurt and everything hurt, but I kept trying to do it, and I was like, you know, after a while, you just take off the shoe and trust that you are going to find the shoe that fits like a charm. It's gonna happen. And you know, I meet. And this is why I appreciate Rachel so much. There are young people that I encounter now who have already like lost their way, you know, at like 20 odd and you know, young and stuff. And I try my best to help them. I don't know what it is that happens to us, to some of us. Thankfully, not all of us, because we have our guides. But, you know, that happens to some of us where we we forget. We forget how bodacious we are, how amazing we are, and what got us to where we were, you know? I know this wonderful lady who has a tremendous an education, and I remember her being, I knew her as a child, and she was just this dynamic, couldn't tell her nothing.
Okay.
She was going, and you couldn't tell her nothing. And right now she's going through, she just started her 30s, and she's going through this, who am I again? I completely lost my, and I'm like, Diva, sit down, shut up, and start listening. You know, reconnect with, and I think the struggle is that when I started asking that question in my 30s.
Yeah, me too.
But I was asking everybody else, like, who am I? Who am I? Do you know who I am? Maybe if I read this book, I'll find out who I am, you know? And it took a long time for me to understand, you don't need to ask Lisa, Trisha, and Poopy. You don't need to ask them.
Right.
You need to go within.
Right.
Because that is where the truth, you know?
That's the hardest thing to do. To look within yourself.
To get quiet. To get real quiet.
Totally hard to get quiet.
Look, you were just saying about your aunt. Say what that thing
She was saying that you need to sometimes know how to do nothing well.
Right. That's right.
You say, do something well, yes, of course, but do nothing well.
That's right.
And that seriously, that's like, I almost cussed, but it's like shut the F up.
Yes. Be quiet.
Right. Just be quiet.
And trust that in that silence, if you really, really want to find yourself, if you are asking truly and you truly want to know, it will come.
It will.
It will come.
It's so interesting. It does
and
come.
it will be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Why didn't I realize that before?
Yeah.
No, seriously. And it's one of those things, and it is one of those things where, like, you don't know the timing, you have to let all of that go.
Yeah.
It may come in 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 months, I mean, whatever.
And that's tough.
Right.
It's tough to do nothing because, like we were saying, we are taught to hustle. We're taught to go after our thing. Do you know, to pound the pavement, all these things that I learned when I was in college.
Me too, yeah.
No, sometimes you do the work and then you stay silent so that you can hear what's being taught to you.
Right. So you can actually make the next move.
Exactly. And then the move is effortless because it becomes very clear.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of you trying to make it, trying to figure it out, if you're silent and allow yourself to listen, it'll just be mapped and you'll just know where to go. Do you know?
Happens to me all the time still. Happens to me still. I get epiphanies all the time.
I know.
It's a great thing. I mean, all the time. Like, everything's not just set in stone. Like, we're not even saying once you figure it out that it's done.
No.
It just means that you're on that way, and then things keep happening because you are listening, and you are paying attention, and you are being quiet, and things do happen. It's really interesting.
You begin to practice the art of listening.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to live in that consciousness, your steps are, and of course you're going to stumble along the way, I certainly do, but you begin to trust that voice within you and know that it is your guidance system and trust that guidance system knows better than your ego, do you know, your earthly mind, has a much better vision, and you start trusting that vision. You're like, okay, let me move here. And then you start finding after a while that it's sort of happening organically. You know, and then you look back and in hindsight, oh my God, that I find that all the time.
Me too.
You know?
I look back at stuff and go, oh, I remember how I met so-and-so because I was nice to this, and then this happened over here, and that led to that, and that, I mean, it's all connected. I mean,
it's completely, you know, I say a lot when I look back over my life and the changes, the transformations that have happened. I always say there's an earthly understanding of my journey, and then there's a spiritual one.
Yeah.
There's an internal one. There's a spiritual one that it's the same path, but it's a different consciousness all the time.
Completely.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. You're talking to a life coach. You know, I love that stuff.
Right.
So I love that. So just leading into, you have worked on a lot of shows, and you've guested on a lot of shows, doing a lot of shows, and that's kind of what I kind of subtitled the show "Acting on Hit TV Shows" because you've been on a lot of stuff.
Thank God.
Yeah, please, yes. Right. And this industry's so unstable.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, we were just talking about how do you marry that into this business for you as you navigate your way through? Like, how do you center yourself, and how do you keep it?
Well, in the newer consciousness, I mean, as in my 20s, it was like
just pushing through.
I just showed up and I stated my claim in ways that it was so organic back then. Do you know?
Yeah.
In your 30s, I got lost. And I, because I've spent the majority of my career doing guest appearances or recurring roles on shows, and that's a very unstable world, as it is for any artist. And it's tough not knowing how long a job is going to last or when the next job is, and I got caught up in society or the industry's idea of what I should be because, unfortunately the industry, lovingly, I'm a part of it, so I know it, and so whatever judgment, we're all in this together. But the industry understands what has made money in the past. That's what they base their future on, for the most part. What has made money in the past, and where can we earn a dollar? This is, and I don't fit into that category. Do you know? And so there has been, for me, after a while, I started thinking, well, if I change myself, maybe, if I straighten my hair and if I lose 1 billion pounds and get away the spaces from my, I had a manager. Child.
Tell it, girl, tell it.
I had a manager. Love her, and I'm grateful that I had my experience with her. But when I first got out of grad school, this wonderful lady said to me, was absolutely in love with me, and we worked together for many years, and she was awesome. But I remember her saying to me when I first got out of grad school, in order for you to work in this business, you have to lose weight, cut your locks, get rid of the spaces between your teeth, and get rid of your mole.
Wow.
And if you don't do those things, you're not going to work.
Okay. Look, my whole life. Okay, thank you, got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And for many years, I believed that. I believed that if I did not do A, B, C, and D, that I would not work, that I would not achieve my artistic goals. And it messed with me for a long time.
I'm sure.
A long time, because you're telling me that who I am organically, not that I am identified with any one of those things, but who I am in my skin. My art is not enough. I have to now mold myself now that I am in the business. I have to now mold myself into this thin, no disrespect, but straight-haired person, the industry's image of a white person, and I'm like, but I'm not that, do you know? I'm an African woman, and
I have the features, and that's not going nowhere.
Anyway, and it took a long time for me to. I was, lost all this weight, and I changed my teeth, and I did all this stuff, and even then, I was so insecure.
There you go.
Because I felt that my future, my success, depended on maintaining this thing. Do you know?
Yeah, I do.
And the truth is that the bottom line is, I don't care what you look like. The bottom line is, bring your art and bring your true self. To thine own self be true. Absolutely. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. I have seen people who are immensely talented, but have lost themselves along the way because they have lost their career because they have lost themselves. Do you know? And I lost myself. And I sabotaged my career over the years so many times. Oh my gosh, I can't even. Oh, jeez. Oh, Lord.
But it's funny because there's two things I've learned as I've gotten older. One, you could change all that stuff and still not get jobs because it's good.
That was the thing.
There's 100 million people for the same job.
I had a conversation. I was testing for a show. And I was the first in line for this thing, and it was clear. And I was wearing braids, extensions, and the test was like Wednesday.
Okay.
And Monday, my manager once again came to me and said, "You're not going to get the job if you keep those extensions in." Now, this is Monday, and the test is on Wednesday. And I'm being asked, along with preparing for this test, I'm being asked to take all the extensions out and get a wig or a perm or something.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just, and so, and I had this huge argument, and it was so debilitating for me. I went into that room with all these executives and studio blah 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 looking at me, and the only thing I could hear in my head was, "You're not going to get the job because you have extensions."
Oh, how funny.
And I choked.
Oh.
And I threw it all away.
So the art suffered.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because once again, that voice that is saying you're not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you have to be this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it took so long for me to exercise that voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So long.
Yeah.
But I am grateful
Yeah.
that I live in a different consciousness now.
Yeah.
So great. And we parted ways after that.
Okay.
You know, amen.
But you know,
I had to let go.
but you know the thing is too, the other thing I've learned is that in this town especially, if they like you, they'll find a part for you.
Boo, come on now.
If they like you, they will seriously, if they see you and you're not exactly what they were thinking of at first, if they want you in their film or TV show, you will be on their film or TV show.
My dear, I tell you what, I was living in New York, and I don't know. I was living in New York, and my manager came to me and said, I think it's time, we've done what we can do in New York, and we had achieved a great deal.
And it's very different than California. So,
very different, whatever. And she said, I think it's time for you to move to LA.
Okay.
I was totally scared, but my being knew that it was time, that it was true.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so once again, I came here and I thought, you know what? I'm going to start from scratch, and I don't know anybody here, and I'm just going to hustle, and I'm going to do what in a month I got the West Wing.
See?
Now, the West Wing is the West Wing.
Yeah, hello.
I was an absolute fan of it.
Yeah.
And to me, in my skin, in my large body or whatever it was, with the space between my teeth and the mole on my chin, and I got the West Wing.
Hello.
Do you know what I mean?
Martin Sheen, everybody.
And so many other things, I mean, if you just bring your full self, just bring you, and the reason I believe, the reason I got that, because I came here and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna hustle and start all over. So I went to that audition with no expectations. I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my thing, and it's an opportunity to see this casting director and let them, that's how you do it. You do your best, and you may not get this one, but you're gonna get the other one because they'll remember. And I went in there with no expectations, which gave me the permission. I gave myself unconsciously the permission to just be me.
And do your job.
And do my thing. And in doing that, I just presented the art.
And they liked it.
And there you go. Do you know?
I do.
And it's so, oh my goodness, we let go of that. I find as artists, I've always been like the underdog, and I was always comfortable being the underdog because nobody sees me coming, and I can just do my thing, and then they're like, oh my gosh. But then what happens when they're like, Michael, okay, now, and come on, and then I get shy. Do you know what I'm like? Oh yeah, I've gone through so much because now you're looking at me.
Yes. Okay.
And then that voice comes back. Weight, teeth, mole, blah, 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 blah. You don't look like them, and you need to look like them, and that.
Right.
And so that's one of the challenges I've had in my journey. Yeah. When the light shines, are you able to stand in it? And I've always, not always, obviously, because I have a career, thank you God, but there so many times I have cowered from that light. Do you know? And I had to come to terms with that truth. That's one of the things that that journey that I just had to really sit with myself and really get to the underbelly of why am I so unhappy? You know, and it's not why am I not working, but where is the unhappiness coming from? It's not just coming from the work, because the lack of work is coming from a place. You know, there's something underneath, and we have to allow ourselves to get to that underbelly so that we can find the truth and reconnect with that truth, so that you can reconnect to who you are, so that you can be the artist that you were meant to be. Right. Do you know?
Because the art should come first.
Yes, the art should come first, but it is such the whole. It's such a personal, spiritual, intimate thing that it all gets interwoven. And when one is off, the rest is off.
That's very true.
You know, you've got to find peace on all the levels, or it doesn't work. I'm not. You know, I've heard the term "fake it."
Oh, yeah, till you make it.
Till you make it. I don't know how to do that.
I think the camera picks up on it. I think in any industry, like we have hosts, you know, acting, whatever. When you're fake, it comes across. I think it just does. I can't do it either.
It works for some people.
I
don't know how to do that. I am very. You know, I'm right here.
Yeah,
I'm right here. And wherever I am, you're going to see it.
Right.
So, and I brought that into every room, and every person saw it, you know? And it has taken a long time for me to just, you know what? I need to get real with me. I need to get back to me. Yeah, so yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
And it's just a tough thing, because this business is, like I said, it's not easy, and there's things thrown at you all the time. From different sides, and it's how you handle it is how you get through it, obviously.
Yeah.
Because any industry, stuff's gonna come at you. But I know this industry, especially out in LA and Hollywood and just Southern California, there's a lot of stuff.
Well, you know, and you know, I mean, I think everywhere. I mean, I think, you know, we have lost so many tremendous artists in over the last 5-10 years who. You know, find success and who are living in it, but because they are not at peace or they are not in tune, which I fully understand. They, you know, everybody has their thing. Everybody's got their thing.
They do.
But you know, I don't know. Well, I heard a voice once that just said, "Are you more brave than you are afraid, or are you more afraid than you are brave?"
Ooh, interesting.
And I was being asked this. I was being asked to find that answer. And I had to get real with, wow, I'm really afraid right now. I am more afraid than I am brave. I've lost my bravery. I've lost my courage. And I had to, you know, once I understood that in those very basic terms, then I had to find my way back. I had to find my courage again. There was always, thankfully, there was always a light. Pinprick as it was, there was this light. And I found the more I allowed myself to get quiet and to listen, stop talking and making and doing and creating this idea of what my journey should be, the light became bigger and bigger and brighter, and I'm so grateful. I
know. I live in gratitude every day, even for all the stuff that's, you know, is crazy. I live in gratitude every day. I always think everybody always, because it's still all a lesson.
Yes, and it's not a given. No, it's not. No. It's not a given. Right. There are many people who are alcoholics and don't find recovery. Right. There are many people who are lost in their addiction, and we all have whatever addiction, whether it is to our own, you know, dysfunction or whatever it is. And you don't have to find, but it's a choice. It's a conscious, proactive choice you have to make to find that truth. And
how fortunate are you that even if you just did one TV show, even if you just did Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, how many thousands of folks don't even get the opportunity? Yeah. That are dreaming of it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, how fortunate I'm sitting here talking to you. I mean, I'm
come
on the show.
Brother. I mean,
it's like, seriously, it's like,
Absolutely.
I always think I had to learn how to flip that switch and think of it that way, going, even if I just did one show and that was it, I was done, there's some people who wish they could do this one show. Yes. And they're hurting because they're not getting it.
That's right.
We're fortunate. We're fortunate.
I know a lot of people who, you know, I have a credit card bill to pay. and I have student loans, and I have a mortgage, and I have children, and I have blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I cannot take that chance. I can't.
Right.
You know, I know a lot of people who grew up in families where their acting was like, excuse me,
right?
You need to get a real job,
right?
Do you know? Lots. I mean, we're not just talking about the arts. It's anything. Who are they have been told and they believe that they cannot follow their truth. They have lost faith in their truth. And as a result, they are incredibly unhappy.
Oh, I mean,
incredibly unhappy. But they're making a way.
Right,
they're paying the rent or paying the mortgage and raising their kids and doing because they thought that if I did that, you know, I have the income and I have the this and I have all the things that you check off the list. Why am I still so unhappy?
Right. Why do I have digestive problems? Why do I have headaches?
Why do I have high blood pressure? Why do I wake up with a sour puss on why? Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to live your truth is really, I am so grateful.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I loved you on The Wire. The Wire is my favorite shows of all time. I always say it all the time. I love The Wire, The Wire, The Wire, The Wire. My friend got to meet Michael K. Williams the other day, and I was so envious. One day I'll help you. Be with my show one day.
He's a cool man.
So how was your experience on The Wire?
The Wire was my first.
You had a strong role on that.
Yeah, that diva was crazy. That diva was fabulous. She was fabulous. Yeah, man. The Wire was really it was school for me.
Okay.
It was my first. Okay. I had a few gigs.
Yeah.
I had gotten out of grad school and did a few Law and Orders and a couple of but The Wire was the first real like up in it kind of experience, and it was like school. I mean, every day I was being asked to step into this bold, unapologetic diva.
Yes, that's right. You were, yes.
You know, and I remember being with the wardrobe designer. I'd come in for a wardrobe fitting, and he'd put me in Brianna's clothes, and immediately, you know, my spine got a little taller, you know, and my shoulders got a little broader because that's just who Brianna is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And she taught me so much.
Ooh, okay.
She taught me so much, you know. Here it is. I mean, you know, we're going back to the same thing.
Yeah.
Here it is. I just had this wonderful experience where I was told that you need to do this, 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 and this. And yet I'm being asked to step into this, you know, person who does not apologize for who she is, what she looks like. She does. It's not even a question.
Wow.
Do you know? And so I had to reconnect with that person within myself.
Wow.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And then the blessing of being able to live in her skin for however many years, you know, I worked on that role. That taught me so much.
Oh, yay. Good.
So much.
Yeah.
It brought stuff out of me. And that's the beautiful thing about art. Do you know? It's so bigger.
Yes.
To me, I think the wonderful thing about being an artist is, I don't know if people are going to agree with this, but to me, it's a spiritual journey.
Yeah, I think it is.
I feel that we are, what's the word? We are mediums. We are liaisons.
The conduits.
We are the conduits. Thank you very much. It's coming through us. And in my experience, there are times, like certainly on The Wire, something happened, you know, working on a scene and you're rehearsing it and your stuff in the room and stuff in the home, and then it takes on this thing. Something else happens that is completely not earthly. Completely not something that I manufactured.
Yeah.
It came through me.
Yeah, I like that.
And as it is such an amazing opportunity to, when you allow the art to just be and allow yourself to just open up to it. Amazing stuff. I learned so much about the strength that I had, you know, and giving myself permission to be unapologetic and how important it was in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been shy.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I've always been left and away from the crowds. And I mean, even with all of the hoopla of The Wire, I didn't know how to embrace it all.
Yeah.
But when I sat in Brianna's shoes and when I put on Diva's clothes,
You were ready.
there was nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it taught me, it was the beginning of, because a lot of the characters that I have had the opportunity to portray over the years have come from that place. So Brianna was my beginning. I mean, so much of what I've done, you know, over the years, whether it be playing detectives or lawyers or anything, came from that. No, she was the beginning for me.
Wow.
Yeah, truly, truly. So great.
Do folks recognize you from there still?
Yes.
Yeah, I can say
Yes.
I remember you from. I remember you from that. So it's like, okay, I'm okay.
And it's so weird. I mean, it's been so many
For the years. I know that
but...
show is legendary at this point. So
Yeah.
it is. It's transcended. You were lucky to be on a show that just transcended. It's it. I mean, it's this thing that people just talk about all the time.
There was a brother who recently contacted me because he felt that it's such a landmark experience in African American history, do you know, as well as industry history and television history, that he wanted to. I think he's writing a book or something to that effect.
Okay.
Do you know? But this really moved people.
Yeah.
This really touched people's lives, and truly honored to be a part of it.
The best parts of entertaining, isn't it?
Oh God.
When you can entertain somebody and help move lives.
When I run into somebody who says to me, Michael, you changed. They don't know. I mean, they don't know my name necessarily, but they recognize me and the role that I played. Yeah. And you changed my life. You have no idea how much. And they start crying, and I'm just like, that's why I do this. Yeah. That's why I do this. Yeah. That's why I do this. Yeah. To be that conduit. It is such an honor, and it humbles me so much. And I needed that because I needed to see how much bigger than the earthly ego me all of this is. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
I am being given the gift to be a part of this, but this is bigger than this.
Oh yeah, easily.
You know, so you don't hold on to it because it doesn't belong to you.
Right, I agree.
Do it and then move away so that its goal or whatever its objective, it can do its thing because it's not about you.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That helped a lot with being able to do my work. You know, take it out of me. And put it in the real context. Yeah. So, okay, I have a job to do.
Right, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
And we do it.
Yeah.
And also, Ray Donovan. We got to mention Ray Donovan. Jon Voight and Liev Schreiber. I mean, you got to tell me. I mean, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Jon Voight, come on.
Jon is so amazing. He's so generous. Oh, wow. Because, one of the wonderful things I've been able to experience being a guest on so many different shows is you get to experience so many different energies. Do you know?
I'm sure, yeah.
And not everybody allows that kind of generosity.
Right.
Do you know? So when you find it, somebody like Rachel, somebody like Jon,
you hold on to it.
You really do. Yeah. Or at least you allow yourself to swim in the moment for as long as you have it. Do you know? And you appreciate it for what it is. Jon is incredibly generous. I mean, you would think somebody who clearly has, I
always think of his performance, his Oscar-winning performance in Coming Home. It's just like it still stands up today. I saw it recently and I was like, his performance in that movie, well, they all did a good job, but his performance in that movie is just...
And he's so unaffected. He's so unaffected by it, do you know? Yeah. The majority of the scenes that I did in last season were with Jon. And he would come to me and say, okay, what do you think about this?
Because you needed his help. That was the whole thing. The storyline was
right. I mean, we're not friends, but I needed him. But he would come and he's working on a scene and just one actor talking to another. Wow. Do you know? Yeah. And he would say, what do you think what do you think about this? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, is Jon Voight asking me
I know,
what I think?
Yeah, I was like,
But immediately, you know, and you know, I try to give and he's like, no, what do you think?
Okay.
You know, and he's just like,
I know
hello,
what you mean, yeah.
Get over the Jon Voight thing.
Yeah, right.
Talk to me, actor.
Let's make,
Talk to
exactly.
me.
Let's make this scene good.
Talk to me, artist, so
Right.
that we can
Right.
work together and be partners and create this art.
Right.
And I was like, you just better, nigga, you just better swing me back into consciousness. Thank you so much.
Right.
All right, let's get to work.
Yeah, right.
It was so fabulous. It was wonderful to have that moment.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you forget. You know, you get caught up in
you do.
this
Starstruck
person
and
is
all that,
it's like,
He's like, no, I want to make a good scene.
no, boo.
He's been here for a long time. I want to make a good scene.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he's about. That's
Right.
all he's about.
Right.
That's all he cares about. You know,
Right.
I just have such respect for him. And Liev is so lovingly intense and, you know, very, very meticulous. And I greatly appreciate that about him. Every minute detail is very important.
What a great actor, though. I mean, what a great actor.
And
Stage
so versatile.
and screen.
Yes,
I mean, he's such a good actor.
Very, very much. Very, very.
so
I
fortunate.
enjoyed him
He's so
very much.
fortunate.
I've learned a lot from him, and definitely.
So now, I mean, I could talk to you for the rest of my life, but this means you have to come back again and again at some point. But I have two questions I ask every person on my show. I ask the same two questions.
Yes.
I don't prep you guys ahead of time. I believe in language, and I know you do too. About language and how it can propel us forward or kind of keep us stunted. And so what I want to ask you is, what word do you think we should take out of or no longer say in the English language?
One word or phrase?
If you have a phrase, give me a phrase.
I can't. I can't.
Take that out, folks.
Take
Stop
it out.
saying it. Stop saying it.
What? Yeah, I can't.
Because you can. Or you could try.
As I, you know, my son is 5, and in preschool, you know, he was 3. Preschool was just like babysitting, and I was like, no, we have to get some work done.
Yeah.
So I started buying some books, and of course, you know, some of the thing, and I heard something that I was asked to pass on to him. I can do it. I can do anything when I choose to give it my attention.
Okay.
I may not have the answer right away, but I have everything I need to find the answer. And I'll be patient with myself while I figure it out.
Ooh, I like that.
You know?
I like that.
And so we just, it's our mantra.
Yeah.
Whenever there is, Mom, I need your help.
Yep. Right.
I can, and I'm going to be patient with myself until I figure it out, because I can do it. Yeah, so I can.
Like that. Well, then on the converse, what word or phrase should we bring back into our vocabulary or say more of in the English language? Okay.
I was buying a tree from Home Depot or something,
Okay.
and I've had a sedan, you know, a regular 4-door sedan, and the gentlemen brought it out and they were helping me put it in the car, and they looked at it and they looked at the tree and they said, yeah, this is not going to work, and I was like, let's say yes first. Let's commit to the yes first, and then figure out how.
Yeah. Like that.
And the damn tree fit in the car.
Okay.
Okay. And
Good
I
night,
got
everybody.
it home.
Drop the mic. Good night,
Say
everybody.
yes.
Say yes. I like that.
You know? And yes.
Well, I'm saying yes to you anytime you want to come back here again.
I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Really.
for being present today.
I love having these very, you know, we can talk about
Yes.
but talking about truth is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Thank you for
Thank
it.
you very much. And you can see, well, so now what are you on right now? So you can tell people where to watch you at the moment.
Well,
Or coming up
thankfully, beautiful Ray Donovan is coming back,
that's right.
in June, and we've got some more stuff to do there.
Okay, good.
And you know, the other stuff, nothing yet.
Yeah,
We'll
so
see what
you
happens.
follow her at Michael Hyatt 16
That's
on
right.
Twitter.
On Twitter and
follow her,
Instagram.
see what's going on with her. And I'm going to be following her too, so don't worry. We'll let you know what's going on with her, of course. Thank you so much for being on. And everyone, you can follow us on Facebook at Black Hollywood. Breaking Into is actually a page we have there. And of course, you can follow me at James Lott Jr. everywhere. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Christie, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.